Because right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Jess and Ray. I'm Rich Walsh, and you just tuned into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Andrew Filipponi will join me in a matter of moments, and we're taking your phone calls tonight at 412-575-2600 is the number, and we definitely have a lot to talk about. A big Bucco win, 4-0. Keller pitched a pretty good game out there, 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, only giving up 3 hits. O'Neill Cruz was the DH. Did you understand that one, Pony? O'Neill Cruz is DH. He was 2 for 3. He was one of the better players here tonight, but the Pirates won. I think it's just too little too late for your Buccos right now, though.
For me, you've got to get to 500. I got to see 81 wins or better out of this team to feel like they're still on the right track. That would mean still significant development from some of these hitters that have been, now Hayes is out, but some of these guys continuing to get better, and in some cases, guys that have stunk all year starting to hit in the last month and a half of the season. So for me, yeah, they're playing out the string, but I think jobs are still on the line. If this team wins 75 games and finishes in last place, I don't think you can justify bringing Derek Shelton back next year as manager, and I think you can make an argument to get rid of Ben Cherington. I wouldn't. I would give him another year, but I could completely understand why people would be done with him too if this team doesn't make progress this season.
59-66. There's no chance of them getting 80 wins this year. 0. In my mind. I wanted to see them do better than last year, and they were on pace. I just don't know what happens with these collapses. I mean, it happened in 11 and 12, and it's just very similar to what's going on right now.
I know. I was thinking about this on the way in, though, Richie. Vegas had them pegged. Their number out in Vegas was 75.5 wins, I believe, before the season started. Okay, somebody out there, the smart people, looked at where they were relative to the rest of the teams in their division, what they had done in the offseason, and said, they're not going to be better. The teams around them are better than them, the Reds, Cubs, Cardinals, and Brewers. On paper, they thought this was a last-place team. And that's exactly where they are, and I get it with Skeens and Keller and Jones, and you thought your young hitters would take a step forward. I'm frustrated. I'm ticked off. I'm annoyed at how you have a 10-game losing streak. Things have completely unraveled. But take yourself out of this bubble, and the prognosticators, the people that do this for a living, who have to set a number because money depends on it, did not think this was going to be a very good team this year, Richie. Their external expectations were not very high. And that's part of the problem here, is that they did not make moves this offseason in terms of trades or free agent signings to make this team significantly better. They spent $30 million, Richie, on a bunch of one-year contracts. That's not smart. Is that the front office's fault? Is that the owner's fault? I mean, probably a combination of both. All I'm saying is that people this year outside of Pittsburgh did not think the Pirates are going to be a very good baseball team.
So do you think we're too close to the situation? Now, we were buying into a lot of the hype of the younger players. Henry Davis, for example. O'Neill Cruz is going to be a star this year. You have Keller coming back. David Bednar's completely shut down closer. These are all the things that we were thinking, right? Jack Sawinski's going to take the next step. None of that happened, essentially, except for the Keller part.
Well, and then Jones came out of nowhere early in the year, but then got hurt. I mean, they're 29th in payroll. The only team with the lower payroll is the Oakland A's. So, look, we've seen stories like the Rays and the Guardians are doing it this year. It's not like the lowest spending teams always lose 100 games. That's not true, but Michael A. Taylor, Rowdy Tellez, Martin Perez, Aroldis Chapman, which has been a good move, Edward Olivares, Marco Gonzalez, Yasmani Grandal. These are the moves this team made in the offseason. For me, it all traces back to that. You won 76 games last year. Did you do enough to supplement your roster to get you from 76 to 84, 85 and get you in a playoff conversation? And my answer to that is no. And so you didn't do that, plus the guys internally that you were counting on to get better. Sawinski, as you pointed out, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Henry Davis. Many of these hitters have not, Jared Triolo, Very few of these guys have gotten better. The one move they made that I give them credit for and congratulate them on was Joey Bart. That was a very shrewd move by Ben Cherington and his scouting staff. But, Richie, that's only one move.
I think it was a lucky move, in my opinion. But 76 wins. This team, for me, needed to have 77, 78, 79 in order for me to think this was a successful year and they're on the right track. What if they come in with 72 wins? I mean, they're worse than they were last year.
Well, then I think you need to do something. Well, number one, I think you've got to, next year, we've got to see a significant free agent signing or a significant trade happen. And if it doesn't, well, then I'm going to be very disappointed. But my thing is, if they lose 90 games or thereabouts, how do you give Shelton another year? I'm not saying it's all his fault, but I've seen very little to think that he is a good big league manager. I would like to get someone in here who's won with less before, who's shown that he can take a team and push the right buttons. Very few managers in Pittsburgh Pirates' modern history have gotten more than 5 years. Chuck Tanner, Jim Leyland, Clint Hurdle. No offense to Derek Shelton, Richie, but I don't even think his family would tell you that he deserves to be in the same sentence with those guys. One of them won a World Series here. One of them is in the Hall of Fame, and the other, Clint Hurdle, went to the World Series with Colorado and ended 20 years of losing here. So, yeah, Derek Shelton should not get a 6th year. I don't care that they gave him an extension 2 years ago if they lose close to 90 games this season.
Well, you know the saying, cream rises to the top. I mean, money rises to the top, and that's the situation. I still think that they got to go out and spend some money and get some free agents to try to build on what they think they have here. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the Steelers and their quarterback issue right now. 412-575-2600 is the number. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Co. I'm Rich Walsh, and this is our GMC tweet of the night from J.J. Watt. Glorious day for some football in Pittsburgh. Slight chill in the air, pads popping, season just around the corner. So much pride watching his brother T.J. Watt work, talking ball with the boys, being on the grass again. Thanks for letting me hang out for a few days at Steelers. Oh, so J.J. Watt was over there with his brother T.J. Watt. I want to get into the quarterback situation, Pony. All right, so if the Steelers' starting quarterback had these numbers, say it's Russell Wilson, 3,421 yards, 16 total touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and a 90 passer rating, 64% pass completion percentage. Would you be happy with that year?
No, I would not.
So why I asked that, because I thought if Russell Wilson throws for maybe 3,700 yards, has 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and had a passer rating around 90, I thought that would be a decent year. It would be an average offense, and it would put the Steelers in position to win games. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would put them in position to win. I still don't think on its own those numbers would be enough to elevate the Steelers to a couple of playoff wins and a double-digit win season with their schedule. I think that those numbers in today's NFL are kind of pedestrian numbers. I think they're solid. I wouldn't go overboard and say, though, that I would, let me put it this way. I would not want to sign up for those numbers, because to me, if you do that, you create a high floor for your team, but probably a low ceiling if it's 25-9.
You know, those original numbers,
3,600 yards.
Yeah, the original numbers, those were the starting quarterbacks, all the starting quarterbacks last year. I'm sure you knew that for the Steelers. Kenny Pickett, Trubisky, and Rudolph. 34-21, 13 passing, 3 rushing, 9 interceptions, and a 90 pass rating for all 3 combined. And I think if Russell Wilson comes in and does something similar, I think it's a disappointment.
Of course. The thing is, I don't think that next year, I don't think we can expect lightning to strike twice. Last year, they won so many close games. They won so many ugly games. They benefited greatly from some guys around them, like Joe Burrow going down for the season, Aaron Rodgers getting hurt on the Jets' 5th play of the season, Anthony Richardson getting injured, and Gardner Minshew having to play the whole year in Indianapolis for the most part. I mean, these are things that dramatically changed the outlook of the AFC. And so now you're getting C.J. Stroud year 2. You're getting Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville after they collapsed last year in the second half, and the year before that they went to the playoffs. Justin Herbert gets better coaching in Jim Harbaugh. Aaron Rodgers is back. Joe Burrow is back. It's just such a good conference, Richie. And I know there will be a quarterback injury or two again this year, but I just don't think, my point is, the idea that the Steelers could have a conservative offense and just win with defense, given their schedule, I just don't think it's possible. I think they need good to great quarterback play if they're going to compete in this rugged AFC. I really do.
And I think the division is, I would say arguably it's the best in the AFC. I can make an argument that they could win a division, but I also could make probably a stronger argument that they could be last place in a division.
There's not a bad team. There's not a punching bag on paper. There's not a New England like in the AFC East, which is funny to look at them that way now, how the mighty have fallen. There's not, say, a Tennessee like in the AFC South, although I do think they'll be better. Maybe Mason Rudolph will get a chance to start there. I think eventually he will, as a matter of fact. There's not a Denver and Las Vegas like in the AFC West, where I think both of those teams will probably be bad. So you're right. There's not, of your 6 division games, the days of the Browns being a 1-15 team or a 2-14 team are over. Now, I think that they're overrated. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but they're not an automatic 2 wins like they were for the most part of the Ben Roethlisberger era. And that makes things much tougher in the AFC North. The Bengals for a long time were a laughingstock franchise. We know that's not the case anymore, given Joe Burrow's excellent quarterback play. So their schedule, some rate it the toughest schedule in the entire league this year, Richie, when you factor in some of their lack of rest, quick turnarounds late in the year, short weeks, quality of opponent. It's just an absolute gauntlet for them. I think they'll be a better team than last year, but I don't think their record's going to reflect that. I don't think they'll win 10 games again based on who they're playing and when they're playing
I
them.
think they're a 10-win team. Well, down the stretch, they got to get off to a good start. And seeing what we saw the first 2 preseason games, that might be tough with this offense. I do want to ask you, what do you do, since we're on the subject of the quarterbacks? I want to see a Justin Fields be a slash. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. I think that's the best opportunity for this team to win games.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I think that Fields, anytime he has the ball in his hands, there's a chance he scores a touchdown. He creates instant offense. He's a microwave player. He can do it with his legs. He can even uncork a long ball and throw a touchdown pass. So that's absolutely on the table. But the counterpoint is he can also botch a snap, fumble the ball, and kill a drive in one play. And the more and more I've thought about this, Richie, the less and less I think we're going to see Fields against Atlanta. And let me tell you why I feel that way. I honestly think Tomlin's going to go into that game like he did these games against Cincinnati where they won on the road a couple of years ago. Buffalo, like when Watt had that amazing game, they blocked that punt, they beat Josh Allen and company. Atlanta's got a new coach, and they've got a new quarterback, and it's a new offense. I really think he's just going to say, hey, defense, go win me this game. T.J. Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, Patrick Queen, Joey Porter Jr., Alex Highsmith, win me this football game, and offense, don't lose it. And so I think for that reason, they're going to be conservative, and they're not going to want to risk Justin Fields. Yes, he could do something insanely positive, but he could also blow up a drive with one gaffe, Richie. And that's why I don't think we'll see that maybe till later in the year. That's just my guess right now, my hunch. I would be very surprised if we saw gadget plays from Justin Fields the first couple of weeks of the season.
All right, let's go out to Dave out in the north side, our number 1 Cochran call tonight. What's up, Dave?
I think they should cut down on if McCutchen's going to stay next year, they're going to have to cut down on his bats, because I think they're going to have to put what you call in the outfield or the DH.
All right, thanks. I guess we're transitioning back to the Pirates here. McCutchen, do you think he comes back for another year? Would you bring him back for another year?
I think he wants to, and as long as he wants to play, I have an open-door policy with him because he's not a liability yet. I think ideally he doesn't play as much, and I think he would be okay with that. He's playing a lot not because he's a selfish player or anything like that. He's playing a lot because the Pirates needed his bat based on how little offense they had for most of this season. You know, if you really think about it, Richie, after Brian Reynolds and O'Neal Cruz, who can be feast or famine in his own right, he was their third best hitter this year. Think about that. I mean, I mentioned all the free agent signings they made. After Chapman, he was probably the best one for $5 million. You know, Rowdy Tellez has been better, but, you know, he stunk for the first 2 months of the year. So, yeah, I'd have him back, but I think I agree with the caller, Dave. They probably should. In a perfect world, he's not playing 140 games next year. He's playing more like 110.
Yeah, and I think he's a good locker room guy, a good clubhouse guy, especially because he was around during that transformation, you know, like I said, in 11, 12, 13, those years. All right, we got to take a break. Back to wrap things up coming up next. Stay right there. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Go. I got a tweet here for you, Pony. Sean Creamer just tweeted me. Where do you both see the Steelers' season total at, with Vegas slating them at 8.5 right now? Simply find 9 wins. I think over at 8.5, but I mean, you talked about the Pirates over/under, and you know, Vegas got it right.
Well, not yet. We got to see how many they end up winning, but they're on the right track with that. No, I would go under. Richie, I actually think the best football bet of the entire year, if I could advocate for one, it's Pitt to go over 5.5 in college football.
You think?
More
people were down on that.
I know they only won 3 games last year. I'm going to say this. They've had lean years at Pitt. How many times in your lifetime have they had 2 years in a row where they only won like 3 or 4 games? You have to go back to what, Johnny Majors 2?
Yeah.
For that? I mean, they are usually, set your watch by it, 6, 7, 8 wins a season, and I think they're going to get back to that this year.
All right, I'd like to see it. Thanks a lot, Pony. Thanks for coming on tonight. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we see you guys on KDKA News sometime tonight.